Hello and welcome to TCG Buzz. We are having a conversation today about the worst TCG sets of all time. No. It has to be from a game that's like good. Otherwise, it's it's not the worst sets. It's just the worst games. Yeah, Towers of Time is not going to be here. This is all about games that are otherwise at least fine, right? But they screwed up massively with one legendarily bad set. And we say one legendarily bad set because we did limit ourselves to one pick per game, even though some games, Cardfight Vanguard, could have had like 15 entries on this list. So we did limit ourselves to one. And I'll say I did most of the research for this episode, and I probably missed some really obvious bad sets. We go off of our own biases.
Don't admit to that. Just say, I found the worst set of every card game. If you comment that there's a different set, I'll just say you're wrong. But comment for the algorithm anyway.
I did crowdsource a lot of opinions for this. I asked you guys. I asked other TCG content creators. I asked the Reddit. Reddit helped me. I even asked ChatGPT.
Definitely. What? Stop admitting things. Just say you have the worst sets. Gosh.
Yeah, I have the worst sets ever, and the ones I picked are definitive, and there's no room for debate in the comments. And we are going to
debate anyway. Definitely leave that comment.
Please give us that engagement. I need to be able to afford more than one background image.
Me too.
And we are going to be going in order of like least bad to worst bad. And by bad, we don't necessarily mean like the worst gameplay. We mean the biggest disaster. We're going from sets that were like, yeah, that kind of sucked, to, oh my God, you killed your game with just how bad you fumbled. I did have a lot of games I looked at that didn't quite make the list. So, like, if you're a hardcore fan of a specific game and you're like, oh, this one set was really bad, there are several that I didn't feel and needed to be on the list. Like, there are some sets that were just like, yeah, I guess it's kind of bad. An example was like DM23 from Duel Masters is bad, I guess, but it's like, I guess, I was looking at a lot of games that I thought there was something there. Like, there were some really good ones for Legend of the Five Rings that almost made the list, like Seeds of Decay almost made the list. And I looked at 7C. I was so sure it was going to get on the list, but it turns out that it had nothing to do with a bad set. It was just bad management of the game, and a actually really crazy story I'd love to tell someday now that I've done the research.
I think they had a reprint set that like changed the card text or something, so that was confusing. I don't know how disastrous that was for 7C. Legend of the Five Rings, definitely. That game has a million sets. Unfortunately, I think there's like 4 people in the audience that probably know that game, and then 2 people that know that set. Maybe I'm underestimating the L5R crowd.
Yeah, it's one of the longest running games of all time in both of its lifetimes, right? You're going to be able to find something. I also, one of the ones that I want to point as an example is Animayhem. When I was doing my research, I found like this 90s article of someone really, really, really going off ranting about how much they hated the Dragon Ball Z set for Animayhem because it ruined everything that came before. But I gotta say, that fell into the category of, nah, dog, that's just a bad game.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the few that I know that it exists. It's like an anime crossover game from many years ago, and it had a DBZ set. That's about all I know about it.
For the viewers at home, just so we're all on the same page, are we defining bad sets not just by, because you mentioned before about fun, so I guess what is a bad set in your guys' opinions, just so we're all on the same page?
I guess it's a combination of factors, right?
Yeah, it's like, is this bad for the company? Like, does this set sell? Like, if it's a bad set gameplay-wise, or like, if there's something, does it get delayed for a million months? Is there, what is wrong with it? kind of thing.
Is there an actual like factory problem where like packs were like searchable or cards were damaged, or did it ruin the meta of the game, or there could be any number of reasons, but generally it's, did this set leave a bad taste in fans' mouths? It there are several on this list that were for very different reasons than one another, and we'll go through those individually. Starting with the very bottom of our list, so the least bad of the bad, we have Pokemon's entry. And with each of these entries, generally, I do have a couple of honorable mentions just so people don't go in the comments going, yeah, I thought it was going to be this set. They're still going to do it. And in fact, I actually want them to. But, I did limit it to just one, but we'll briefly talk. Like, there are a lot of sets. Generally, you get like one per like era of Pokemon that are kind of Crimson Invasion from Sun and Moon is a good example. Champion's Path was another one I considered. Two Lanes, you recommended Evolutions, I believe, right?
XY Evolutions. That's the one where Rudy, Mr. Alpha Investments, had a whole bunch of that, and he like couldn't sell it at all, and he like threw it in a bathroom, and it made the infamous Rudy's Pokemon bathroom. And eventually it would be worth a lot of money, but at the time it was just worthless garbage.
Right. And that set, as an example, like was really bad for players. There was very little playable in it, but it did have benefit to collectors, so you kind of have to balance that. I even put base set 2 as a maybe on this list. It is now a beloved set, but people really didn't like it at the time because it was just reprints. But our actual winner is a set I personally have a lot of experience with, so maybe I was biased when I picked it, but I think when I looked around on like the Pokemon TCG subreddit and stuff, people generally agreed this was the worst set in all of Pokemon. That being Black and White Emerging Powers. This was the second set of the Black and White era in 2011, and it doesn't exist in Japanese. It was a set that was made up of a very small mini set and then like a bunch of like promos and like starter deck cards. They were all just fused together and turned into a set that in general had very, very little value for players, for collectors.
That never goes well.
No, it doesn't. Like the big chase cards in it were everyone's favorite Pokemon, Thundurus and Tornadus. Those are the ones you want to pog about and get for your collection, right? But it was really bad as well because the only notable card in it for players was Pokemon Catcher, a item card that was the same as like the old school Gust of Wind card, and it was really, really degenerate. And at the time, it was like a $25 staple card. And it was the only thing worth pulling in the entire set. So real big stinker there, gets a thumbs down from me. And I completed a master set of it as a teenager. So yeah, that one sucks.
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson here is don't separate your biggest audience of your card game to separate the Japanese audience, say, in your Pokemon, in the Pokemon Black and White's case. So yeah, you want to make your card game for everyone and make it appealing and not just, mishmash a variety of cards to put sets together.
We will see more examples of Japanese card games having mishmash English releases on this list. It is not the only time that's going to come up. Our next card game is going to be, we're continuing down the line of the big three, I guess, because it is Yu-Gi-Oh! Time.
What do you got? You got Cyber Dark Impact. You got insert GX set here. Of course it is. Like, of course it is. What else is it going to be?
It is not.
What do you mean?
I think sets like Cyber Dark Impact, Tactical Evolution are like known for being bad.
Another GX set. Man, the anime really carried Yu-Gi-Oh! Through GX. I remember because I was probably 13, 14 when GX was airing. And yeah, I just like getting the Jaden packs or the Chaz packs. The Chaz, yeah, heck yeah.
I played Via Croix.
Via Croix. Dang. And Jacob's over here being Cyrus. Everyone's favorite character, Cyrus.
I do
Truesdale.
have big Cyrus energy, I think.
Why do you like Cyrus, though? What?
I don't. That's the thing. I don't know. It's just what I gravitated to. I think I like the cool little bicycle dude with googly eyes, you know?
I mean, I'm gonna be real. I liked the Viacroids as a kid too. I thought they were cool.
The one that
Badass.
was really funny, which you and I talked about a little bit, two lanes before, was we really considered putting Legend of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, the first set of Yu-Gi-Oh, on this list, because
I mean, it's a bunch of vanilla monsters. There's 3 traps, and I think 2 of them are awful. And Trap Hole is like a super or an ultra, right? It's like Trap Hole, 2-pronged attack, and I don't know, Fake Trap. This is where you edit and you like, that's not right, or maybe it is right. I don't remember.
it's really funny to me that like it feels like bait to put Legend of the Blue Eyes LOD on this list. Put LOD on this list. It's like, oh, I'm gonna rage bait you. But no, there's a very strong case that it's the worst set in the game. But it is not what was picked for this list.
Well, Jacob, what was picked? It's not a GX set. It's not Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon. What is it?
Much worse than those, I'd argue. But a little obscure. This is McDonald's Pack 1.
McDonald's?
Yes, this was a
What?
McDonald's set back in, what, 2003, I think?
What did you get out of it?
The worst cards ever printed. How would you feel, Kevin? Imagine you're a little kid. You're like 8 years old, and you're going to McDonald's, your favorite place on the planet, and you're gonna get yourself a Happy Meal, and it's come with a Yu-Gi-Oh toy, and it's gonna come with a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and it's gonna be so cool, right? And then what do you pull from your exciting Yu-Gi-Oh card pack? Frog the Jam.
Oh. Terrible, bro. Well, I mean, I don't know. Me, I have bad taste in cards, so I would probably love Frog the Jam, but I know my boy next to me will probably hate it.
No, I messed with some Frog the Jam, dude. That's one of the best cards in the starter deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Duel Stories. It's got 700 attack points. It's like the second best card.
Oh, 700.
Yeah, dude, the best card in the starter deck in that game is Yamato Dragon Scroll, and it has 900. Dude, that thing, it'll destroy any of your tier 1 opponents. Kristen won't stand a chance.
The set is all vanillas, except for 2 cards. There are 2 cards that are not vanillas in McDonald's Pack 1. One is a spell card, like, oh boy, a spell card, right? But it's Dark Piercing Light, one of the worst spell cards ever.
Dude, you can totally get Millennium Shield, though. That's not bad. It's got 3,000 defense points. You just have to tribute a monster for it, and it has no
Yeah.
Remind me again, how many cards were inside of the McDonald's packs?
Not many. I think it was 15.
15. So you open up one McDonald's pack and you get 15 cards, or
No, you get. Oh, no. I thought you were asking how many were in the set. 1. You get 1.
Oof. Okay. So like, this is my opinion. McDonald's all vanillas could have been good in theory because it was a really simple way to introduce people to the game. Mostly getting kids playing with vanilla cards, and not
Yeah,
the
kid,
crazy
have the
amount of
frog.
effects.
Frog the Jam.
You get the frog. That's it.
This card's gonna cause problems for the next 20 years.
So like I'm thinking as a designer, right? If you had like, I don't know, 5 cards in a pack, enough to play like a sealed pack game of Yu-Gi-Oh, and it was all vanillas, that could have made the set a lot better. But just making it all really bad vanillas, 1 card a pack, in my opinion, killed the set.
Yeah, I remember I did get one of these card packs as a kid myself, and I was really excited to open it. And I remember the card I got. It was Yamadron, level 5 vanilla with 1600 attack.
Yeah, baby, that's that peak 2002 first couple sets of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where like, hey, you can normal summon 7 colored fish, or you could tribute something, and it'll have less attack than that.
Yep. That's early Yu-Gi-Oh! And this really shows those early periods of Yu-Gi-Oh! Being not so great for the players. This is a primo example, and that is why it was the set that I chose. next on our list is not another member of the big three. Oh, believe me, Magic's coming. We just got to go a little further down the list before we get there. Next is the I was gonna say the worst Pokemon, but I don't want to be mean like that. I'm actually a huge Digimon fan. It's not really fair. I just wanted to be funny.
You watch your motherfucking tone saying it's the worst
I
Pokemon.
love
I'll leave
Digimon.
this call.
Digimon's great. I really like Digimon, but the Digimon TCG has a couple of big stinkers, and let's talk about them.
Oh yeah, first up we got the Resurgence booster. I just know the set name is RB1, but there was a reprint set of Digimon, and it came out in a good time in Japan where I think most of it was still useful. But then they waited so long to release it in the US that the reprints were just like not even useful anymore. And then on top of that, the original Japanese release had some exclusive cards that just came in RB1. I think they might have combined sets or something like that, but I think it came in this one because there's this whole stink where they were going to remove the new cards for the English release and put it in somewhere else. And people are like, no, we need the new cards. We need the new cards. So we got the reprint booster. By the time we got it, reprint's not even useful anymore. New cards, too hard to pull. Like, if you want the new cards, you were like opening boxes and boxes of like cards that you don't need to try and possibly get the few that are new. Because I think most of the set, it probably isn't going to tell me on here, is not new. And it was hard if you actually wanted to get them. So this set was It was immediately thrown in the dumpster. I think it was
No, your collector's value.
What? I think that set's like $30 a box. I had that one box just so I could do that. That was its purpose. I didn't know it when I bought it, but it was to be shown off on screen for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever.
A quick
how long
visual gag.
Yeah, and that's it. But the actual worst set for Digimon is the first EX set, the first extra set, which was their side sets, Classic Collection. This was a nostalgia bait where they're like, hey, you remember the old Digimon game? What if we put that on the new cards? Whoa. So Digimon was really hot when it came out, and this came out after the 6th set, which it was still pretty hot, and that was probably pre-ordered because Bandai likes to pre-order way ahead of time, that people bought a whole lot of this. And then when we finally got it, it was not a good set. I think in total, at the time when it came out, there were really 2 meta cards in it. And there's this Gabumon that made the best deck in the format better. And then there's this other blue card, Ice Wall, or we called it at locals Ass Wall, because it made the best deck or in the set or in the format even better. And it was just like a floodgate stupid card. And that was like the 2 relevant cards in the set. Now, we did get a couple cool other cards. Diaboromon got like a new line in this set, and he was a mid deck. And after he got new support, he continued being a mid deck. Now, for the people watching the video part, this is actually one of the alt arts where they gave us the full...
Oh my god, the alt arts piss me off so much, man.
They gave us the full original card from the original Digimon. Sorry, too many words thinking. Like the base set rarity sort of had the original art Digimon just floating in this like digital background, and then the alt arts had more along the lines of the actual original card with some of the original stuff on there. But only the alt arts did that. So the base cards are just ugly.
Yeah, so you get like 1 or 2 of the genuinely cool looking retro cards.
3 in the EX sets.
Yeah, like not nearly enough. If the entire set had been that, it would have been a lot cooler. But
they did have a lot of them as alt arts, but yeah, you only got 3 per box.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and there were some
got
real duds. I think I pulled 3 Lilymons.
I got 3 bangers. I think I got 3 of the best ones because I got Diaboromon, Analog Boy. This isn't the alt art. This is one of the so we're on card 4 4 of possibly useful cards. This was kind of useful, pretty good. Some people, my locals, called him Analog Truth because he was the real spice. And then we got one interesting archetype in Machine Dramon, who is the secret rare in the set. So you had a chance to get him or not. Like, he might show up in a box or not. When he came out, you basically needed 4 of him to play. So I think he was $25 or $30, which for Digimon is fairly expensive at the time. And a couple other cards that helped him in the set were in it. But also the EX sets are smaller, so you need less boxes to get the playset of the cards. So other than the Machine Dramon, you basically had a playset after 1 or 2 boxes. So there was not a reason to buy multiple boxes. So people didn't buy multiple boxes because the set was just bad otherwise. So classic collection. Lots of people bought into it. It turns out set bad. One of my locals actually got so mad that we didn't buy this set. Even though we went to this store, like, this is the best store to play Digimon. We're going to buy out, every other set. But we didn't buy this one, so they just dropped support for the game altogether. They're like, no, we're not doing Digimon anymore. That game sucks.
Yeah,
They
and
didn't buy Classic
I
Collection.
really want to emphasize just how bad this set was, not just for collectability and gameplay, but for stock. Because game stores ordered way, way, way too much of it, and to this day, we're 3 years after release, and it is still under MSRP. It has never been
It's
above
still
MSRP.
like $20 or $30,
And it was
I think.
even worse because this was the first Digimon set that was widely available in big box retail in the Digimon gift boxes. It was the only set you got in the gift box. And
Yeah,
those
one of these
things,
kind of things.
Yeah,
It's not this one, but
not that one, but yes. And those things sat on store shelves in big box stores everywhere, and they're still like $20 for a box.
poor EX1.
So what do you guys think could have fixed this set if they
It not being bad?
if they put in the
that's
reprints
pretty-
they needed? And they put in the new cards they needed to put in. and they
Having
actually
more
went
useful
through
cards
it.
than these. There's over time there's been a couple other ones that are useful, but like there's a lot of the cyborg cards. There were 3 or 4, but you only ever needed 1 or 2 of them, and they were like commons, uncommon. So like that wasn't selling the set. There was one super rare, I couldn't find my copy, where like eventually there was like a metal Garurumon that you'd run 2 of maybe. It just didn't have any power to like where you'd want to buy it.
Well, the big thing I'd do, number one thing you can do to dramatically improve this set is just make all the cards have the original frame. That is such a huge step up. Say what you want about evolutions with Pokemon, which we were talking about earlier, but they did that. Every card in the set had the original classic frame with some slight modern tweaks, but they didn't have the balls to do that with this set, and I think it really, really, really hurt them.
Yeah, give it the original frames. Oh, shoot, that's the wrong one.
That would be so cool, though. I would love the Digimon CCG frames.
Dang it, I just have like a whole box of random cards. I'm like, I know there's Digimon over here, but it's the wrong one. Sad.
One more question. So that store never went back to carrying Digimon to Lainz?
No. Nope, never.
No. What about other stores around you locally?
They mostly still do Digimon, if the store's still around. That one's actually like a big online store called Poke Collect, where they do like grab boxes, and like they've had Poke YouTubers, do videos on them. It was a cool store. They did Digimon for a while, but then they're like, nah, we're just gonna go back to doing Pokemon. So they do Pokemon. I don't know. They might do something else. Oh, they probably had a good year this year.
That's true. Well, back to previous podcast. If you burn the trust of one store, you're probably not going to get it back. So just be careful if you're making a card game.
Yeah. So next on our list, guys, I think this is going to be one where I am doing most of the talking because I think I'm the expert in this room, and maybe I'll just have Speed Robo hop in for 3 seconds. And go, no, I'm the expert, right? Because he knows more than I do, but I played quite a lot of this game over the years, and that is Cardfight Vanguard.
I watched Card Protagonist play this like 3 times, so I know a lot about.
Yeah,
Vanguard.
So you're an expert. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the ride deck, right? That was always in the game and wasn't added later.
Yeah, dude. I love gifts, and I love
The overtrigger? Everyone loves
I
the
love
overtrigger.
overtrigger. I oh. For reference, I've talked about my experience with Vanguard in the past, but I was very into Vanguard. I got into Vanguard like during Legion era, which was kind of late. And then I was very into G, and I played it competitively. And then towards the end of G, the game got hyper monetized, and I quit. But I know my stuff, and I went back and I played a lot of classic Vanguard. Right on, and I still get together and play OG Vanguard sometimes.
I
But
understood some of
seriously,
those words.
I don't think there's any game on this list that could have more contenders for the list than Vanguard. There are so many. Vanguard could fill out this entire list on its own if we just were talking trial decks.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of the trial decks, especially early on, were really, really bad. And then you had Trial Deck 6, which came out in English way, way, way earlier than it was supposed to. The first like year to 2 years of Vanguard were a hot mess in the West. We got things completely out of order. And Set 6
That sounds
introduced
fun.
a new clan, which is Gold Paladins, which were you could buy that single starter deck and it was so far ahead of the rest of the game, you could not be beaten with a fully built like $500 full like meta deck from a week prior.
Knowing Japanese games like power scaling, yeah, I don't know if it's like a year ahead of everything else, but yeah, just imagining having a set of a Japanese card game that's a year ahead of everything else. You're like, oh, I'm just winning everything.
Let me rattle off a couple of sets just to activate the neurons of all my Vanguard heads out there. Champions of the Cosmos. I don't have to say more. Divine Dragon Apocrypha. Jesus Christ, dude. That set introduced cards that were required for every single deck that were staples that were like one per case. Yeah.
And that's a 4 of game, right?
These were one ofs.
Oh,
You could
okay.
only have one of them, but
Well, that's not so
yeah.
bad. That doesn't sound that bad.
The Zeroth guards, the Zenith dragons, those were what made me leave the game. Okay, they were that bad. And they are still expensive to this day for like the like extended format of the game. All of the Legion era mashup sets. There was this era where they wanted to get onto the new like kind of reboot with G. It was like the next generation. But we had not gotten any of the sets before it, so they kind of smushed them all together and did weird stuff with them in English. We've seen that on this list before. It's going to happen again. On that was really messy and bad. All of Overdress, all of it. No, I'm not going to apologize. I hate it.
I got the $4 starter decks or $6, whatever they were.
But our actual entry for this, so I'm not spending too much time about like ranting about Vanguard, which I will do any day of the week, is from the V era. So the story here is we had original era, then G era. G era was pretty promising for a long time. I personally really enjoyed it for the most part. And then towards the end with ZX, it got really, 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 really bad. I cannot stress how bad it was. That's when they introduced the stupid Zenith dragons where you had to pull them. They were one per case and they were mandatory staples. And that was one of many problems in the game at that time. Crazy power creep, etc. Right? And then they said, oh, things aren't going very well. Let's reboot the entire game to our new V series, which essentially started everything over from the original set 1, but with some changes and different power numbers and everything. It was like starting over from the beginning. And they got 2 sets out. The first set, and then they had a Spike Brothers extra booster, and then set 2. And by set 2, that's our entry here, the game was dead to me. Set 2 of the reboot was called Strongest Team AL4, and it committed every single sin that had killed Vanguard the first time around. It was so clear that they had learned nothing from their problems. It was it was a bad time for the game because the reboot had just happened and a lot of players had not transferred over. A lot of players were trying out this new format they did, which was premium, which was you could play all the cards, not just the reboot ones. But this set, again, just the second main booster set, proved that premium was a terrible idea to get invested in because they did not playtest for that brand new format ever. There was an infinite combo within this one set for premium that was so obvious to everyone. It would have taken them 2 minutes of thinking about premium and it would have not been a problem. It was a really obnoxious infinite loop. And the set was just stinky. It was stinky in so many ways. And I know a lot of people who were burned by the G era and then said, I'm out of here. And then we're like, oh, they're rebooting the game. Let me give it another shot. And by this set, they're like, nah, I'm done. I'm done forever. There are so many people I know that this was their last set. And to me, it was also a big disappointment because it was a full reboot of the game. But they re-released each of the clans from the game in these new versions. But they played exactly like they did before. None of them did anything unique or interesting that they didn't do before the reboot. Big disappointment. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I can understand an infinite loop making people want to quit. That sounds not great.
In their brand new format that they were just pushing for competitive play.
Not very fun. 2 questions for you. Was there a scarcity issue like the other sets you mentioned where some cards that you needed were just too hard to get?
There wasn't too much of that in this set, which almost might have helped, actually, because it didn't feel like there was anything too interesting to like chase out of the set. And it was a thing where the clans that they chose, Vanguard is a game where you choose a clan and that's what you're playing for, or at least it used to be. Oh my god. Sorry.
Triggering. He's triggered his own PTSD.
Sorry. You pick a clan and you play that clan, right? The thing was, I think the clans that were picked for this set were kind of on the more niche side, or more like they picked all the like dark edgy clans, right? And they kind of only appealed to specific players, if to generally, you know.
So one of the only things I know about Vanguard is that they like to have their promos and that end up costing a lot of money and being competitive staples. Was that a problem with this era? I guess that's unrelated to the set. Sorry, that's just a random Vanguard.
I don't
I know a
recall...
thing about Vanguard. It doesn't relate to the video at all, but I'm gonna say it.
And it's also kind of hard for me because, like I said, this was my last set. This is where I jumped off the train completely. I had already sold out of my collection like a year before, and then I gave it a good college try to get back into the game with V-Series. And by this set, it was just like me and everyone around me was like, yeah, no, we're good.
I'm gonna go play Buddy Fight.
Bye. Question number 2, I was thinking about why, in your opinion, we're just speculating right now, why do you think there was an infinite loop on their second set of the reboot? You think they were just rushed? Because it is their reboot, right? They're trying to get something out, you know, if you're R&D, trying to get something out quickly. But why do you think they missed the infinite loop? Or was the infinite loop intentional, do you think?
It definitely wasn't intentional. And
I won't... Infinite loops ever intentional?
No, I won't speak for myself. I'm just going to say that the general sentiment of players at that time, I was there, Gandalf, 3,000 years ago, was that Bushiroad did not care about that format because it was the format that you really didn't have to buy new cards for. They were focused on their new standard format, and they wanted you to exclusively buy new cards. And people felt that that new format was just there to make people less mad about the game rebooting. And I do believe Premium's still going on to this day, so like it wasn't a death knell for it, but honestly it actually was, because like Vanguard has been a shell of its former self since then and has rebooted since again and again. And
I know at one point I was putting together information for like the biggest punts in TCG history or something, and we talked about how when Vanguard came out, it like had the possibility to like kill Yu-Gi-Oh, and it just whoa slipped on a banana peel a bunch of times.
Right. Like Vanguard at its peak was as big as like Flesh and Blood or One Piece are right now. It was a genuine contender for like the big three being expanded to like a big four. Definitely not anymore. No one cares about Vanguard anymore, you know. But it's not the game that challenged the big three that is the biggest fall from grace on this list. No. We'll get to that one later.
No, no, that makes sense. And to the infinite loop thing, in my opinion, I mean, some games, I'll give you an example with Keyforge, right? So Keyforge, there was in the first set a pseudo infinite loop where basically you had one card that could grab, there we go, Keyforge on screen. There was one card that could get any card from your discard pile, put it back to your hand, the pen seed.
Recursion, that never happened. That never goes wrong. There's nothing that ever happens with that.
Recursion, right? And then there was another card that basically says that every single time you play a card this turn, you draw a card. So essentially, you could double loop that playing, that card from before, library access, and a pen seed, and you could repetitively draw your entire deck multiple times throughout the entire game. It wasn't a pure infinite loop, but it was pseudo infinite loop. So the reason I asked the infinite loop thing is sometimes designers can think, hey, this infinite loop or pseudo infinite loop, it can happen, but it's not impossible. But players can continuously break the game, as so.
I think the biggest thing was premium players were already feeling extremely ignored and sidelined. And this was just a flagship beacon of, oh yeah, they're definitely ignoring us and putting us to the side. We are not the important players.
That's totally fair. Well, I will say, one game that does like infinite loops, or at least the players do to an extent, is Magic, which I'm sure you have to talk about that a little bit.
Is that the next one? Is that the next one?
Is that a segue to our next game? It sure is. We are talking
Kevin,
about
get it!
Magic the Gathering.
Dude, I feel like, hold on, before we go on the war set, I feel like every time I see like a challenge video for Magic, it immediately devolves into, all right, I found these 3 cards that infinite and I win. And that's just like so boring to me. Like every challenge gameplay, like find some cards at a convention is just immediately, what's the fastest way I can find an infinite combo? And I'm just like,
that's the thing with Magic. Magic is such a wide expanse of a game. It's the oldest TCG, the longest running, the most sets. You can play it any way you want to. You can have it be a hyper combo fest in Vintage Cube. You can have it be hyper combo fest in Commander. You can have it be super casual, happy fun time in any format, It just varies. But yeah, Magic does have a lot of that kind of stuff. So to my Magic players here, I am a hardcore Magic player for like my disclosure here. I'm a hardcore Magic player. I collect vintage Magic. I've been playing Magic since I started in 2014 was my starting year. I love Magic. I love its history. I love everything. I don't play that much Magic anymore because I'm one of those players who's been pretty burned out with the game over the past few years. That's your context for why I picked what I picked. A lot of players, when they hear bad Magic sets, they're going to initially go to a couple of funny ha-has. Those
Empire,
being,
baby!
Yeah.
Homelands, baby!
Fallen Empires and Homelands. You hit the nail on the head.
Dragon's Maze, baby!
Yeah, that one too.
Legion! Oh, wait, no, never mind.
People are... That one too, actually. The people are going to maybe not be happy that I don't automatically pick Fallen Empires or Homelands, but I think there are some excuses for those sets.
Which one is the one that was so bad that people weren't playing any cards from it, and they had to like retroactively like change the tournament rules to where you had to play at least one card from like the previous X number of sets? I think it's Fallen Empires, but it might be Homelands. I get those confused sometimes.
Yeah, it was Fallen Empires.
Okay, that's just funny. They're like, we got to make him play at least one card from the set, right? We got to do something.
Fallen Empires and Homelands, I do feel get a little bit of a pass just because they were still very, very early sets in Magic. And it's like hard to divide. Is Fallen Empires really that much worse than Ice Age is? No. But Fallen Empires is a bad set. As someone who literally has a complete collection of Fallen Empires, it is a bad set. I will agree with you on that. Homelands, I think, gets even more of a pass because it was never meant to be a good set. It was meant to be a cheap, like half-price booster set to get the kids into the game. It was never meant to be a super serious hardcore set from the get-go. So neither of those appeared here.
At least topical. At least the thing that was meant to get people into the game didn't have some extremely high power exclusive cards that it turns out nobody can get because they didn't print enough of it. No. That's not Homelands. They printed way too much of that game.
Yeah,
Or
they
that
sure
set.
did. We also aren't talking about the blocks that came out after really, really overpowered blocks that were toned down a lot. The two people look at are Masks block coming right after Urza's. Very, very toned down in power because they had to be, because they were in standard together and you could not fit more power level into that standard. It was not possible. The same with Mirrodin block to Kamigawa block. I really put thought into this. I didn't just pick a set off the top of my head. I really weighed the options. I talked to other hardcore Magic players. I had a great long discussion with my local game store owner who's been a Magic player since the early 90s. We really got into it. And I think my choice is the most valid on the list. That is...
Can you tell it to us? Can you tell it to us twice? Maybe
I sure can.
Maybe in a double feature, perhaps?
Innistrad. Double feature.
Oh, that's pretty spooky, Jacob. It makes sense why it was a spooky set.
Double feature was not just one of the worst sets of all time. It is one of the most insulting things Magic the Gathering has ever done to its player base. And that list is getting a lot longer these days.
For those that don't know, Innistrad Double Feature is where they took two previous sets and put them together, made all of the art monochrome black and white, but didn't do any editing to where it would look good. And they sold you less booster packs, I think the 24-pack boxes instead of 36, yes. And they sold it to you at a premium.
Yep. It was literally the cost of buying a pack of Double Feature, which was 15 cards made up of cards from Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt, was more expensive than if you just bought a pack of each of those. And the only selling point was, guys, these cards are shittily in black and white. These were not cards designed for black and white treatment. These were cards from those sets. No new artwork was made, that they just took them into Photoshop and dragged down the hue slider. That was it. And a lot of them actually look really, really bad because of it. The set was terrible for drafting because of the fact that they claimed it was like a curated list. It was not. They literally took the two sets, took out the basic lands, which were actually one of the only good things from the set. They slapped these two already bad sets together that did not mesh together at all and said, guys, go ahead and draft this. It was terrible.
Guys, I know what'll sell a premium set. And then they do that and yeah, this will be so good, dude. This is so... We didn't spend any money on this.
It had no value. It was not good for gameplay. It was not good for drafting. It was not good for collectors. Nobody wanted it. Especially not the game stores. You and I talked about this. Game stores were in such a bad spot at this time. This was right in the middle of COVID. They were really, really hurting and struggling. And Magic had already had some really big stinkers come around just before, like Kaldheim. Granted, Kaldheim has kind of aged like a fine wine, but it did not sell very well. Adventures of the Forgotten Realm. Things were teetering on the edge for a lot of these game stores. And then Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt each come out a month apart, and they're both some of the worst sets Magic has ever done, and they are driving stores to bankruptcy. Those sets drove a lot of local game stores out of business, and a lot of them were like, things are bad, but let's just hold out for this super special premium set. right? Give us this premium set that's coming out. That'll save us. No, it was even worse.
Devil's advocate here. So, what do you think? If they actually put in original art for all the cards, do you think that would have sold a set?
Original art. Well, then that would have not been the set, right? Because the set's just, unless you're saying they make alt arts for all of the existing cards for the previous two sets, or I think
Basically, yeah.
even if they just would have like made sure that the cards, you know, looked good, like done some more editing, maybe.
Actually manually adjust those hue levels and saturation levels, which they did not do. It was one flat filter for every card in the set. But the biggest thing they could have done is this was sold as Innistrad double feature, right? But why not just make it Innistrad focused? If you don't know, these Innistrad sets focus on the plane of Innistrad, which is a fan favorite horror themed plane that already had been featured in several other sets. The Innistrad block was maybe the most beloved block in all of Magic's history. And then the return to Innistrad with Eldritch Moon and the other one.
Yeah, the other one.
Were also very, very well received. What they should have done is add those into the card pool. You could keep your black and white cards. I hope they were a little better looking. And then say in every booster pack, you get one card from the old Innistrad sets in a special new like zombie movie poster theme.
They
Or
just could have
something
called it
like that.
creature feature.
Yeah, creature feature.
Drive through night.
Mhm.
Innistrad strikes back.
Which is even more upsetting because they did release those cards. They did do exactly that. But instead of putting them here in this set where it would have made sense, they sold them as secret layers.
I think we've hit most of the Magic like complaints.
Yeah.
Then with secret layers. Should we complain about Commander?
Secret layer, prices, cards built for
Yeah.
Commander, Universes Beyond.
I guess that wasn't in there. Yeah, they should have.
No.
Why did the set would have sold if they just would have put the Universal monsters in the set like that?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Wizards?
Where's my Jason Voorhees?
That's not a classic Universal monster, but you
No,
know what?
but-
We take that. We take that. What put Freddy in there too?
Turn it into Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I would have bought that.
All right, our next one on the list, I'm gonna pass the torch over to you, two Lainz, because I don't play this game. I've told you before, I really dislike this game. But you have a lot more experience with it than I do.
Not
so
a whole lot. Well,
Well,
I guess a whole lot more than you.
Yeah, a whole lot more than I do. So please take it over.
My secret is I have a friend that was really into this game, so I know the secrets. But it's time to welcome back Battle Spirit Saga, baby! It's back for the second time in a row. Last time we were talking about cheap games to get into. Today it's back because this set is bad. We even talked about how this set was bad in the last episode I was in. We're talking about Battle Spirit Saga Set 2, False Gods. You know what this set did? Nothing right. That's right. It introduced a new color into the four colors that they already had in Battle Spirit Saga. They introduced green. How good was green? It wasn't. It was really bad. I think they had 2 or 3 different like themes. I think that's what they called them, or archetypes, whatever you want. And they didn't really go together. And I don't think they were expanded upon that much in the future. But somebody in the comments will have to tell me if I was right on that. But one of the things I find, I guess it's the easiest thing to complain about in the set, but this set had more vanilla cards than the first set. The first set had 25 vanilla cards, and the second set had 31 vanilla cards. Why is there 6 more vanilla cards? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, what else about this set was bad?
Hey, there were Gundam cards.
Oh, there were Gundam cards. Yeah, so you got a box topper Gundam card that was like one of the only good green cards. I think it was Thorn Prison. And then there were like a 4 per case, 12 boxes in Battle Spirit Saga cards that were, I think, copies of the Void Lords, which this set, False Gods, is named after. The Void Lords is the big bads. And all 4 of them are rares that are unplayably bad. All right, so The other 4 colors, what did they get? They got new themes that didn't expand on the previous base sets themes, that were either half-baked or they were just bad. All right, so did it shake up the metagame? No! It didn't do anything in the metagame. The meta stayed the exact same. There was like 4 meta-relevant cards in this set. This is the worst second set ever. It's just bad. It's just really bad. But it does have... It does... Hold on. Where'd they go? The freaking... technical difficulties. Cardinal difficulties. No, that's not the right card.
I'd just like to share that I wrote the notes for this episode, and we've got a separate section for the honorable mentions, and I will not hide my biases here. My like honorable mentions for this game was all of it.
This set had Ant Queen waifu though, so like I don't know, maybe it wasn't that bad. Who doesn't want a nice bug?
That's true.
I don't think she was very good though. Sad, because she's green. Oh, Battle Spirit Saga. Yeah, all of it. Oh, was it Thorn Prison? No, Beam Rifle, Thorn Prison. Yeah, that's it. So this was the box topper Gundam card that you got in every box. So it was at least a decent card. But yeah, it just Battle Spirit Saga Wolf. You could almost make a whole like documentary on that game because the third set did the exact same thing, where it might have changed the meta up a little bit more. I don't remember, but they also introduced a new color and made it bad, and then gave it themes.
Jesus Christ! How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
And then they also like gave it themes that they didn't expand upon. Blue, which was the one that they introduced in set 3, had like a mill keyword where you had to like hurt your opponent. So it was like an active mill. It wasn't like your normal uninteractive mill. But then they didn't do anything with it.
I'm just looking. Boxes of False God are $14 each.
$14.
On TCG.
Yeah, the first 3 sets of Battle Spirits are like all that expensive or cheap. You know, it just what a game. But False God's just a bad time. I probably forgot some of the information that my friend told me about like what else went wrong with this set, but I think that was the big one. The vanilla ones, just like most of the cards, are just bad. And it's really funny because all the vanillas in this game have like this giant paragraph of flavor text. I know in the first set there was one about a skeleton that did tax evasion or something.
Wow. I wonder why that's the one that would intrigue you. Huh? Why would you be intrigued by
a skeleton that no.
Yeah, that
cut. You got to cut this part out. You can't leave this in there.
Huh.
I pay my tax. You can't mess with the tax man. I do my freetaxesusa.com # not sponsored.
They're super legit.
So yeah, that's Battle Spirit Saga. Sorry, just leave that up on a weird cliffhanger. I don't really have anything else for that. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. That, you know, Classic doesn't move the metagame set bad.
Just so we're on the same page, how many unique cards were in set 2? It was like, what, 21 vanillas said? Or something like that?
31 vanillas.
31 vanillas.
It says 278, but there are 11 alt arts and 6 collab alt arts and 1 Saga rare. So minus, you know, basically 20. So that's still a lot of cards.
They had huge sets. I suppose when you're introducing new colors every single set, you have to have a lot of cards in them.
I don't think it was actually that big because it says normal or holo version, so I don't know if they're counting the same card twice. Bandai usually doesn't do huge sets, so I'd be willing to say it's probably like a 150 unique card set, maybe. I don't know. I could be fibbing. I could be lying. I could be capping.
We're talking like 15-20% of the cards being vanilla, being useless. Very nice.
Hell yeah, dude.
No one's excited to pull vanilla cards not in set 1 to begin with. Like, you have to have like even a really strong vanilla with like that's a genuinely interesting stat line to be exciting at the best of times, you know?
Like, heck yeah, dude. I like pulling my 0 cost butterfly that, just serves as a color reduction. That's probably one of the only. There's like 4 or 5 actually playable ones in here.
We are now moving on to our final 3 games to talk about. 3 more. We are now reaching the top of the pyramid. The games that had sets so bad they caused legitimate harm, killing games, ruining reputations, really screwing things over. And now I'm going to start this off by talking about Metazoo. It's all Kevin's fault. Everything's Kevin's fault.
Kevin
It
worked
is,
on
yeah,
Metazoo.
yeah.
Yep, it's all his fault.
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
What
is
happened, huh? Huh?
Yeah.
What happened here?
What happened?
What
we'll
happened
talk.
here?
Well, actually, I don't know if we will talk about it. But it's my soapbox moment now. But before we talk about Metazoo, I want to be very clear in your notes, Jacob, because we may disagree a little bit. What is the worst set for you?
I think there is some serious disagreement here. I don't think we have
Which
an
set
actual
isn't
entry.
the worst set? Oh, burn, got him.
You know what?
No.
Let me fix this right now in our notes. They're all the worst set.
They're all the worst. Okay, so I think I'll soapbox here. No, this is my time. This is why I was invited.
You gotta get up.
I gotta get up. No, I'm not getting up.
He doesn't care that much.
Oh, that's true. Oh, okay. It's a soapbox. Yeah. I'm too lazy to get up. I'll tell you that one. Okay, so in my opinion, so context, I was one of the R&D directors of Metazoo. I think there was 5 of us officially. I don't know how many there was, like officially, honestly, because there was me,
Schrodinger's R&D.
Yeah, there was me. I was the longest one, I believe, or I think Emilio was after me. He was the last one, and I had almost 2 years in Metazoo.
Mr. Cryptid Camp.
Yeah, Mr. Cryptid Camp now. That's right. But I think Metazoo shut down like a year and a half after I left. I resigned. Yeah, I resigned right after Water Tower.
So what you're saying
right before
is every set you didn't work on was the bad ones, right?
Unfortunately, no. We'll talk a little bit about that. But the set I did not work on was the base set, which I will say that is the worst set in my opinion. And I'm going to soapbox why that was the worst set. And it really sucks to say that because I am a true Metazoo fan. I have a binder of almost all the base set 1 card. That got me into the game. But if I've really, like how Jacob was thinking about Magic for a while, I thought about Metazoo for a while. Why base set is so bad? And it goes back to the previous point of reputation.
What are you doing over there?
He's opening it up.
This isn't a box opening video.
That's where you're wrong.
Cuts to your down cam. All right, guys, so it's time for us to do a Metazoo unboxing on my Whatnot channel.
Hold up. Can we actually do a pack battle real quick? Actually, I actually have some here. Hold on.
I'm feeling left out. What the hell, guys?
Yeah, hold on. All right, here we go. Got Piazza Bird here.
I got Mothman. You can't go wrong with Mothman.
That's true. You can't go wrong.
Is there a pack trick with this or nah? I don't remember.
Let's see it. Oh shoot.
I
forgot the pack trick in the freaking.
Oh, we got clown. I don't know these backwards.
The Rumptifusel. The cat.
Yes, silver cat.
Silver cat.
Oh, I got that thing too.
And filled.
What the frig is this? Some kind of potion.
That's a good card, actually. Got Squawk.
Oh, okay. The thing with Flatwood's monster, but it's not Flatwood monster.
Also a good card. Oh,
I got Jersey Devil.
You got me.
I got full hollow Jersey Devil.
Hey, that's a good pull, actually. That's actually
nice.
Yeah,
get wrecked. And then I got Farm, and then I got Ice Aura. Darn it! I wanted Fire Aura. It's my favorite art ever. It looks like nothing.
That's true. That's it. Yeah, that's funny. That was a good pull. I think I sold before I got hired. I think I sold the Jersey Devil Kickstarter for like $100 back in the secondary market days. That was a funny 3 weeks. That was funny. Well, okay. Why is base set bad? That's right. We're talking about that. So
yeah, we got a bit distracted.
That was pretty good though. Reputation was the most important thing of the base set, in my opinion. So if you look back to people playing Metazoo on YouTube and they're using starter decks, 95% of the time plus, they're going to play with a set 1 starter deck. And those set 1 starter decks were bad. Like who knew? They're really lighting the bottle. They're really, really bad.
The first time I played Metazoo, it was with the oh dang. It was with the forest tribal deck and the electric one. And the forest one's main monster is a card that can only be played face down as a trap card, and you can only activate trap cards when you like put them on another beastie monster, and then when that beastie gets attacked, you can flip it over, right?
Yep.
And so yeah, you just don't attack whatever is attached to it.
No, every set 1 starter deck tournament, I think that deck always lost. It never got first place. It was just a bad.
You can't play the
bad
thing.
experience.
You can't play the main monster. Your opponent only activates it if they're bad. I don't understand.
You can't play the game. That's honestly the sad part. But so basically, the first reason why the base set is so bad is that bad impression. Starter decks terrible for that set. Second thing is that set had a very bad reputation for gameplay because bookmark, there we go, which was actually a cracked card for the gameplay. They actually cracked cards back then, but the gameplay was either cards that were too good.
A card.
I like all the TCG ASMR we're getting this segment.
But yeah, the cards were either too good. So we had basically copies of the OG Magic Crystals,
Yeah, on the first card.
Another bookmark for us. And we also had cards that were basically unplayable. So if you're a Metazoo nerd, that's a good example. That's a
Forest or Spirit was entirely unplayable. Like there wasn't a single good Spirit card in the first set, was there?
Actually, no, there was. So some Morpheus was a staple. If you ever pull that, that's a staple card.
The spell. Okay,
the spell was crazy.
BCs, I guess.
Walking Sam was actually amazing.
Walking Sam. Oh, I got to get lucky. I got to pull Walking Sam. You got
to pull a Walking Sam. Those are the main two top of my head.
Then we had stuff like Lava Bear, where I think at the very prototype beginning, this was winning stuff because if you're by a volcano, it's attacked as plus 125 damage. So you just said you were by a volcano and it did a bunch of damage.
He was there. So we basically reason number 2, basically. There we go. Cards cracked. So basically, reason number 2 is there was just so many unplayable cards, or cards that were bad, or cards that were just too good. So it was a very wide spectrum, which is a very common theme now that I'm thinking about this podcast.
If I could, for once, be the person playing devil's advocate,
yes.
I would argue it wasn't that bad.
Go straight!
As someone who has literally never played a game of Metazoo in my life. And if you could do me a favor, Lainz, if you still have it there in arm's reach, the booster box, could you show it to me again? Yeah. That's my reason that it wasn't that bad. That's a good-looking booster box. That is my entire reason. Because, yes, there might have been some gameplay issues, but I'm sorry to say, a lot of the Metazoo audience weren't playing the game. A lot of people got into Metazoo for collectability or investability, right? And I think Metazoo's packaging did a really good job at screaming
the first card a third time!
Screaming exactly what the game was about to those people looking for that. So that's why I'm not necessarily like, I agree.
Is this a...
Well, that's a fair... That's a nice looking card, by the way.
Fresno full... I feel like I got some pretty good pulls in this box opening video, guys. This community box opening video that we're doing right now. That's what I told you that I was going to do.
Well, that's it. That's a fair point, I will say. And that is true. Most of Metazoo was collectors and investors. I was a player before, and, I still played, when I was working for Metazoo, playtesting and stuff. But... yeah, fair point there. There's a third reason that I'll say, which is probably going to be one of the most interesting parts of this podcast.
What the heck?
Honestly.
Dude, this box is kind of cracked. Flatwood, full hollow.
You're
fully
literally
on
sitting here
fire.
showing how awesome this box is.
He is.
I mean,
showing.
I'm not talking about the game. I just know the iconic pulls, and
He knows it. That's it. Well, yeah. So for me, at least, it's the fourth walls. That's the third reason.
Yeah,
And
I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Those did do a lot of damage.
Yeah, so the fourth walls, let's talk a little
dude,
bit
my
more about the
praying
damage.
mantis cost one less because I live in the southeast where there's praying mantises.
That's true. That's true. The fourth walls, here's the thing. And you could go the other way around. The fourth walls, either people absolutely loved it, and I liked it a lot also to an extent as a fun thing. It was a fun thing. It wasn't like a super serious thing, for me at least. Or you hated it. It was a gimmick to a lot of people, and it blew a lot of people out of the way. Here's some stuff I've never really said publicly about the fourth walls, and so judging the fourth walls, judging Metazoo fourth walls. It's not like an NDA thing. It's just like public because it's at tournaments, right? The set 1 fourth walls were incredibly hard to judge.
Not this one, though. This one just says you can't play it if you are wearing pants. But, like, what counts as pants?
Well, yeah.
What if you're British? Does that mean if you can prove you're not wearing underwear, you can play this?
And so
Oi,
to make
mate,
sure you're not wearing underwear...
I've got no pants on. I can play it right. I can play Fresno. Yeah.
What if I have a tattoo of pants on my leg?
Tattoo? I think that's fine. I think if I was a judge, I would think whatever as is. If you're wearing Jacob...
Sweet, you just gave me permission to run around naked.
Yeah, you could. I mean, basically. I mean, knowing Jacob, he's probably wearing some cargo pants, cargo shorts, so...
I'm feeling really called out right now.
Bro, you have an art in Junk World with the cargo shorts.
Listen, all I'm saying is guess what I'm
He actually, okay. I put some respect on that. So if you notice in set 2 after where I started on set 2, the fourth walls got toned down a little bit, but there was some fourth walls in set 1 that was incredibly hard to judge. So I was the head judge of Castra's Cup, which was a $250K tournament for Metazoo. So first place, $100,000. A lot of money for any TCG tournament, let's be honest. That's a lot of money.
Is that the one where the guy got disqualified because he said this game is easy?
I don't think so. I don't remember that part.
There was one tournament where some guy's like, these guys don't even know how to play the game. This is the easiest tournament I've ever played, and he got kicked out of the tournament.
It could have been. There was a lot that happened in 2 days. I'll be honest with you. That could be a whole documentary, honestly. But the fourth wall is a little bit. The fourth walls, if you make any card game, fourth walls are incredibly hard to judge. We had people in the Metazoo Castra's Cup tournament intentionally trying to hurt themselves to abuse card effects. So, for instance, we had some people
physically hurt themselves.
Absolutely. You ask judges, they will say the same thing. This is why it's some tea right now. So we had people like trying to,
Walking Sam,
Walking Sam is good. Walking Sam is good. We had people trying to basically, stall or slow play to try to force themselves to cry to get Squonk's effect, for instance. This is the worst case and probably the one that hurt me the most as a judge. We had people trying to manipulate their fingers with the Beast of Busco effect with their other hand, trying to stretch their hand out so they can maximize the value of the surface area of their hand, essentially. So that's not good. There were also age-based effects in the first set. That wasn't the biggest issue. We had people
I'm gonna need to see
their
some
driver's
ID.
license. Yeah, you have to see an ID. But to me, as a game designer and as a judge, I'm like, I don't think I want to make any game that allows players to want to hurt themselves to maximize the value of effects. Even though it's funny at first, if you're in a tournament, people will do whatever they can. That's my soapbox on why set 1 of Metazoo is the worst. Even though it sold a lot, it was iconic, it hurt reputation a lot. It's why I preach on the last segment I was on with Jacob, saying, hey, your second set is not the most important because your first set, the first impression, is the most important. It's what people remember in their head.
Red.
It's a good art.
I want to talk about the other sets we had as contenders. I do think the second one is actually an honorable mention. It doesn't really fit the bill. That being
Ooh, Chaos Crystal. That's the other one.
that
11th
being
one.
Seance. Can you talk about that set for a minute? You know its
Yeah.
primary
Seance-
struggle.
All right. Well, I got to open this one too. No, I'm not doing that.
Okay. Yeah. In a nutshell, we've talked about it with the Dead Card Game podcast. With I wish we had 2 lanes there. Not more I think about it, but that's okay.
Yeah, I yelled at you for several minutes.
He did. We gotta do a part 2. We gotta do a part 2 with that podcast. But basically with Seance, I don't know what happened. I'll be honest with you. It would caught the whole staff.
Mark is my first card for the 4th or 5th time. Hell
There we
yeah,
go.
brother.
There was essentially a production issue, which wasn't supposed to be this way, to my knowledge, because I did work on Seance, but the set was mappable. So if 2 lanes did a box opening, don't do a box opening. 2 lanes.
Finish this one. Sorry.
Don't do a box opening. If you
Only
did a
one box opening per podcast.
that's it. Oh, hang on. Let me just shoot. Hold on 1 second.
I'm almost done.
You're having so much fun.
I'm committed to this bit. I mean, it's Metazoo, so I don't really need to pay attention to what the cards are or anything. Oh, another one.
I will do a demonstration. I will actually do a demonstration. I actually have some packs lying around. So in Seance, there was 4 unique arts. There was this dog guy, and there was this other butterfly guy. My God, the names right now.
Walking Sam again.
And there was this ghost dude, and wow, am I missing? So I have an incomplete Seance booster box right now. But anyway, the idea is this: if you open one of these arts and it's full hollow, all the other arts that had the same art is also hollow. So we'll see real quick. The set was mappable, essentially. So this was reverse hollow. So I know all the butterflies are going to be reverse hollow. So let's see the ghost now. Is the ghost going to be full hollow?
There were certain cards in Metazoo that you could only get as full hollow, so, right?
Yeah. Some are only full hollow. There's Obnoxious 9. This is a reverse hollow. So the ghost guy is not full hollow. And then this dog here. It's possible past Kevin may have been like, I'm going to remove all the cards that are a full hollow guaranteed.
Hey, Kevin. Give me the magic that this is blue ink.
That's definitely blue ink.
That's definitely blue ink?
No.
Could you imagine box opening for a freaking meme video and getting blue ink? It's not.
It's not.
It stars.
Is
that not where blue ink is?
No, that's a pretty pull, though. That's a pretty pull. Okay, so past Kevin screwed over future Kevin, which is present Kevin, because past Kevin took away all the full hollows of the booster box.
See, even when you're trying to demonstrate it, your packs have already been searched.
Did it.
Man. That's the thing. So that's the mappable. That was a demonstration almost. I wish I had a proof pack, but I don't have one right now.
So yeah, that was really the only big issue. Some people didn't like Seance's aesthetics very much. But really Seance is
funny,
fine, right?
That they went full hard into the satanic panic, but like just like had that kind of stuff in there.
But the other entry for Metazoo we gotta talk about, and it was 2 Lanes who first brought this up to me, and honestly, I think this should be the actual entry. I know you're gung-ho for base set. I'm on team Karumi Carnival.
Thank you for coming to my box opening video. See you next time.
We should just cut a clip of this segment and have you upload it on your channel as a box opening. Karumi Carnival was the last set of OG Metazoo, and there are several problems with it. It had a really convoluted release structure where there were multiple different types of booster packs. Some of them were convention exclusive. Some were one of the versions was exclusive to 5 Below, right?
I remember
I
TCG
swear
Player
that's a
had
thing.
a weirdo box for it that they like
Yeah.
preemptively dropped the price
Yeah,
on.
Five Below had an exclusive version of the packs with exclusive chase cards in it. Five Below, with the bougie version of the Dollar Tree. So like there is some weird stuff with that, but the two big things I want to point out, and Two Lanes was actually the first one who pointed this out to me, was that the licensing deal itself was super expensive and not what the game needed at that time.
Yeah, that's kind of a conspiracy theory. I don't know what went down with that, but it died shortly afterwards. And I'm just going to propagate that myth, if it is a myth, because that Kuromi Carnival released on Halloween. And you know what we were supposed to get on Halloween? We were supposed to get a motherfucking SCP set, and we didn't get it. They replaced it with Hello Kitty. Frick Metazoo, dude.
Yeah.
So,
And also, there was a huge push for this set by TCG Player. They had a partnership with TCG Player.
it's
TCG
like a
Player
double box or
gave
something.
insane amounts of promotion to this, and I know neither of those things are any way, shape, or form cheap. Like, they spent big bucks on this. Now, arguably, maybe the game would have died anyways, and this was just a Hail Mary attempt to save it, right? But I do think that this was definitely, there was no coming back from the set, which is a shame because it's kind of cool, right?
No, because we didn't get SCP.
Okay, but if we had gotten both of those things, it would have been pretty cool, right?
Okay. Maybe.
It's possible.
I wanted to have my IKEA people.
It's funny for me because I never actually worked on this set. This was the only major release I didn't work on before I resigned. So, and I still have not opened a single booster pack of this set. I just know horror stories from the players who say the set was super power creeped, included some of the most broken cards in the game.
I heard that.
Overall, yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's funny because if you, to the viewers out there, you can try going to a GameStop or any of those Five Belows. You might be able to find a random Kuromi pack lying around. I was at GameStop like a few months ago, and there was a single Kuromi pack just, still hanging there, just chilling. So it's one of the only ways to get Metazoo, in the big box stores or small box stores out there. So give it a shot.
We're finally moving on from Metazoo.
No. Talk about it for like 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes about Metazoo.
Yeah.
A new Metazoo, am I right?
They're on set 3. It's crazy.
It's a game.
They've released set 3 of the new Metazoo.
I'm looking forward to our next entry on this list because this is one of those that I did not know about, and I don't think anyone here did. But when I asked the TCG community, I asked around in various places. This was one that one person suggested that I take a look at, and I don't have their name written down. I'm going to credit their username right here on screen. Yay, more editing for me. This person on Reddit suggested this for me, and I was like, really? Okay, I'll look into it. I'll add it to my list of sets to check out, right? And then I checked it out, and it was crazy. They were so right. This is not only a worthy entry for this list, it's number 2. And I had never heard about this.
All right, chat. I have to finish up this bit. Rate the hollow polls. We got some good stuff. Oh, we got some good stuff. That's not good. That's not good. Oh, that's pretty good. Ghost Train, hell yeah. Fresno Nightcrawlers, yeah. Mana Rock. Flatwoods, Mana Rock. Squonk. Baby Blue Ox, Reverse Hollow, Mana Rock, Flatwood Monster, Gigi Bird, GG's, it's cold. That's what his 4th wall is, you gotta say it. Mana Rock, Walkin' Sam, Flatwood Monster again, Reverse Hollow Bigfoot, this thing that was really rare in Kickstarter because it only came in Reverse Hollow or something and not Full Hollow, the Lakewood Monster, which had the power where you could draw cards, so that seemed pretty good. That thing, Ghost Spirit doesn't matter, Mana Rock, Babe the Blue Ox, Full Hollow, Chaos Crystal, which is the Mana Rock of all Mana Rocks, Squonk again, Mana Rock, Kentucky Hound, Mana Rock, Walking Sam again, Mana Rock, Bunny Man, Mana Rock, and Space. Space.
You know, it's such a shame that you have to ship all those cards out to your whatnot customers.
No. I didn't even ask if you wanted to pull from the left or the right side. I'm a failure. What am I gonna do now? All right, that's probably good for a short. You just like that's it. The short is just the Metazoo recap, and you're like, what?
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Jacob is gonna hate editing this episode.
This is gonna be awesome. I can't wait to not have a life for the next couple of days. It's gonna be so cool.
You must know my pain.
Every time I talk about how much I hate editing with 2 Lainz, he gaslights me more and more into accepting my fate. It's really messed up. I think we've got a toxic relationship. You're like, oh, I do 6 days of editing for every video. You can surely do 3.
Yeah. And I post my timeline that's just like, you need to put Vine Boom right here, and then you put a picture of one of my timelines.
Can you send me one of your timelines?
Yeah.
Just
yeah. The joke about there being a lot of needing editing is like top tier comedy for me.
Okay, so our next entry,
Number 2,
big number 2 graphic on screen. Number 2. This is again one none of us knew about. I done the research, and this is such an interesting story. This is from the BattleTech CCG. Richard Garfield designed game made by published by Wizards of the Coast. OG.
Richard Garfield was like on one in the early to mid 90s. Like he just put out like 4 bangers in a row or something. It was like Magic, Vampire Eternal Struggle, Netrunner, BattleTech, and like people love all of those games still. But maybe not this set. Why not?
Well, and I will say I do think BattleTech, now that I did a look at the rule book for it, it looks really, really fun if you're playing before this set came out. This is the set Arsenal. Arsenal from BattleTech CCG is one of the worst sets ever released. And this isn't like one of those ones like the base set of Metazoo or the one from Vanguard where it's like a culmination of tons upon tons of issues. No, this is really about one singular, terrible, terrible, terrible fuck up.
That's pretty bad.
They introduced a new card type. That doesn't sound that bad, but this was the fatal flaw that not only made this set eligible for this list, it killed the game.
So was this the final set of the game?
No, there were a couple more, but it was very much.
This was like the death blow, but like it still limped across the floor for a little bit.
They were bleeding out for a while after this.
It's oil though. Don't get demonetized. It's bleeding out oil because it's BattleTech. It's Battle Mechs.
So Arsenal, I did so much research on this, and there aren't that many resources I could find, but I found some really great resources from back in the day and just how mad people were about this.
But why was it bad, Jacob? I gave you the perfect segue, and you're just like, people really thought it was bad. Yeah, it was just bad. It was so bad. Why is it bad? What was bad about it?
Well, see, here's the thing. I can just cut all that out. Well,
you wouldn't dare.
I wouldn't dare do more editing work. What was so bad about this was they added a new card type called vehicles. You know, this is a game where you're fighting with a bunch of mechs, and they're like, well, there are non-mechs in this game. You know, it's a translation
doesn't sound too bad.
Of the tabletop RPG from the same brand, right? And you've got mechs, but you also have, you know, tanks and cargo vehicles and stuff like that, right? So they introduced a new card type to represent those cards called vehicles. And first problem, they were designed to play exactly the same as mechs did, but with much lower cost. So you'd get the same power level as a mech, but with a significantly lower resource cost, but with one big flaw, a drawback.
Yeah.
which was that they were meant to be super fragile. And the way that was done in gameplay was anytime they took any amount of damage, you would roll a d6, and if it was a 6, the card would instantly be destroyed, even if they had like more health.
We're starting with rolling dice, so that's great.
Yeah, dice were a big part of this game.
Okay, well, maybe it's not a big deal if that was already part of it.
Yeah. So you had to roll the dice. If you were to take damage, you'd roll it, and it meant to be like, yeah, these are fast, aggressive cards that are cheap to build, but they're gonna die, right?
So if I play my removal spell, I kill the vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm. Nope. It's
why not?
Because every single card in the game before this was designed around the mechs. Meaning, if you had a card that said, target a mech on the field and destroy it, it didn't work on a vehicle. And that was every card.
What?
So essentially, these cards that were meant to be really fragile actually weren't, because of the fact that they essentially had hexproof.
Untargetable.
So they were incredibly hard to get rid of. You had to deal direct combat damage to them to have a chance to get rid of them. And meanwhile, your opponent was playing 10 of them out to the field at once, playing a hyper aggro, and there was nothing you could do about it. I cannot stress how bad those two things were. Them being way under cost, with the dice roll really not being as big of a flaw as they thought it was, and the humongous oversight of, oops, no removal in the game affects these.
Yeah, how did they not know?
I don't know. I mean, we've all done some game testing here. Sometimes when you're testing with like the same group of people and not really seeing new opinions, sometimes like core parts of strategy and flaws don't get hit, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Like
topical. There would not be a very popular game that just came out that has fallen victim to this very hard. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, when you're introducing a new archetype or mechanic into the game, you as the designer don't think it's going to be as omnipresent, so you only playtest it with as like a splash in decks versus like, hey, what if someone tried to build a deck that was only this?
That's the first thing I try to do in everybody else's game. Like, oh, these are the game mechanics? I'm going to not do that. I'm going to see how much I can not do whatever the game mechanics are.
So this overnight ruined the entire game. Okay.
Explosion.
It completely ruined BattleTech. Absolutely. So your Wizards of the Coast, you've got this fairly successful game, been running for a couple of sets, doing well, and you accidentally messed it up, right? And people are panicking about this, right? What do? How can you solve this with the least number of steps possible?
Just tell people that the mechs and vehicles are the same thing. Everything that says mech also says vehicle. Problem solved.
Ding, 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 ding. So it made it so all of those removal cards that couldn't hit the vehicles now could.
Woo!
Problem solved.
Yay!
People hated it. People hated that change so much.
What do you mean?
It was a huge flavor fail. There were so many cards that were like specifically talking about mechs and like ripping off their arms or ripping off their legs or disabling their flight sensors and stuff, right? And they made zero sense whatsoever affecting vehicle cards. Also,
I ripped the arm off
books
your motorcycle
still said the opposite, right? And you got to remember, this was 1998. Not everyone had the internet. And even those who did maybe didn't know to go to www.battletech.watsy.geocities.com, right? You know what I'm saying? I was joking about the GeoCities part. To be clear, but not everyone knew that. So there were all these problems, and especially with people would show up to play with someone else, at a local game store or whatever, and I'd be like, okay, I play this card to destroy your vehicle. And they go, what the hell, man? That doesn't work. That says it destroys a mech. It was an absolute nightmare. How do you fix it? Yeah, let's roleplay again. You're Watsy. How do you fix this? How do you fix this? People are really, really mad about this emergency change you did to try and fix your game.
Well, if it was broke when none of them were targetable, and it's broke, or at least people hate it when they're all targetable, let's make some of them targetable.
Congrats, you're going to hell. That is actually what they did. And boy, is it stupid. So what they did was they went through every single card that targeted a mech and on a case-by-case basis errated them to either target vehicles or not, depending on if it made sense. The problem with that is everyone had the cards saying otherwise. How do you, as a player of the game, know and keep track? Printouts. You had to go to the BattleTech website and print out like an 8-page document that listed every single card in the game and said, is this card errated, yes or no? For every single card in the game, every time you played something, you and your opponent would have to go...
Hold on, I gotta check. Oh, wait, hold on, no phone.
Oh, yeah, that one's good.
No, this one says you can't do that. Sorry. You're gonna have to not play that card and try
With
again.
1998 internet.
Oh, see, that's why I got the paper out.
Printouts were really common back then, so it's not the biggest, craziest thing, but you had to haul around a binder with all your printouts of their errata to play a simple card game. This killed the game. And no, they did not, like, reprint all the cards with fixed text. No.
They're just like, oh, sorry, BattleTech, you're sinking, and we're not gonna help you. So,
and the game got like 2 more sets after this. I want to say, don't quote me on that. I think it was 2, but by the time the dust was settled from Arsenal, it was dead. The first of Richard Garfield's games to actually end poorly.
Wow. Do you know if the vehicles actually had it written in the text box saying you have to roll a die and 1 in 6 chance it dies?
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay, if they really wanted to, what I would have done is you could have just changed the rules. If they're trying to balance it by the die roll, just it has to have like a 1 or a 2 to survive.
the die roll is not really the issue here.
They talk about the targetability is the issue, right? You can't interact with the cards. But also they could have still fixed it
Right,
with having them be destroyed.
Just keep them essentially having hexproof, but make them a lot more fragile to basic damage.
Right. You could have
Yeah, I
done
could see
both
that.
issues. It's just the problem is errataing every single card like that is really annoying, right? I mean,
really annoying. That's an
Really?
understatement.
Yeah.
It was written on the card. There's like vehicle as a keyword, and it says activates, attacks, guards, and blocks like a mech. If damaged, roll a die. On a 6, scrap vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
So it
like,
wasn't in the rules. So yeah.
But here's the thing. Even if it didn't have the targeting issue, this still would have been really bad for the game. We've seen a lot of games do this where it's like, our new big thing is going to be a new card type that's the same power level but much cheaper to play, right? Pokemon has had problems with this for years with V cards and EXs and all the whole list. EXs, not level X's, those are actually like upgrades, but like especially like SP cards from the Diamond and Pearl era did exactly this and ripped the game asunder. It was a terrible idea to start with before the part they hadn't thought about.
that's true. It's just, for me, I would rather give players the least intrusive answer, if possible. You know,
it seemed
like
they dug a hole pretty deep for themselves on.
It's pretty deep, and you know, the sad truth is we're still not at a better place today. I mean, Riftbound, 31 errata.
Shh.
First week.
Hey, you should have kept the bait going. You should have said topical. There's another game that just came out and it had 30 erratas on day 1.
Yeah. And which game would that be?
I don't know.
True.
The most recent one, mainstream one that people are playing. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got. Sorry. It's Riftbound. It's Riftbound. It's been Riftbound the whole time.
And with that, we are finally on to the last one. And everyone knew it was coming. Two Lanes, can you grab your box and like do like a slow pan? Oh, no. From the bottom. From the bottom. A slow rise to the center of the screen. We all knew it was coming. There it is.
It's Millennia of
Hello.
Ages.
Hello. Hi. Hi, worst set of all time. How's it going?
Oh,
You're in
well,
the thumbnail.
It's actually pretty funny because I'm like $50 on eBay now.
That is funny. It took a long time, but not that
Yeah.
long ago. They were still like $20 boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hi.
yep. This is Millennia of Ages from Force of Will. It basically.
I hope it doesn't have self-esteem issues because we're just gonna sit here and shit on it for a little.
Oh, it basically killed. It killed the game, but the game like zombied onward and still continues to this day.
Yeah, it still exists. Although, when I was doing the stuff for this video, like it's so apparent that yes, Force of Will technically still exists today, but it is dead. Like the community is not even a zombie community. Like there is nothing going on. You know, there's a little bit of activity in the Facebook group, but like the Reddit's dead. You know, there's not much cooking anymore.
He's just got Rudy and the couple people from him that buy the game.
Right, and you know. You could say, oh, but like BattleTech actually died from this, right? Shouldn't it be number one? This game technically lived on? No, because the thing you're not factoring in is the heights that Force of Will fell from.
Yeah, Force of Will was like the Magic but better, and was like I keep seeing things where people were saying it actually outsold Magic for a brief period of time.
It did. It did.
Which is crazy. This would have been in like 2014, 15, somewhere
15.
around there.
Yeah.
15? Yeah,
It was
I
like
thought
15 to early 16 was the big high point for
And
Force of Will.
then this set came out. So what's wrong with this set, huh?
Well, so much.
This is a 36-pack booster box, and this set is a 50-card set. So if you buy one of these, you have the entire set.
That's a problem.
Yeah, for trading card games, that doesn't work very well. If you buy one box, you just have whatever you need. It's another case, sort of like our Digimon Classic Collection, where the game was really hot, so stores bought a lot of this. And then, just like Classic Collection, they could not sell a lot of this. Because you could buy one box and get everything.
It is maybe, I don't think there's a single product in TCG history that has collectively spent more hours in clearance bins than Millennium of Ages. Millennium of Ages was genuinely a really poor quality set. There was basically nothing in it of value, like competitively. There weren't any J rulers in it. There weren't any like really good staples in it. It was not a very good set.
I have a friend that was really into Force of Will, and he might be smoking that pack, but he says this was actually a good set, like playability wise. So I'm gonna make him comment.
Please do. I'd love to hear from some people who are around then. I was casually playing Force of Will at that time period. For me, like just maybe 6 months before this was when I was first really hearing about Force of Will, and I had bought some packs and was trying out the game, and I was getting into it, and I liked it. It was not my favorite game ever. It's got some really pretty cards, yes, like that. It was not my favorite game ever, but I did genuinely like it. It's just I was so heavily getting into other card games at the time, I didn't feel I had the time for it. And then Millennia of Ages happened, and everyone went back to playing Magic and Vanguard.
Damn.
Like that's the thing. Force of Will was doing well for a couple of years leading up to this, right? It had been steadily building a real player base, but so many people got into Force of Will because Magic the Gathering, back when standards still mattered for the game, were
What's
really,
that?
really angry at standard.
Standard?
Yeah, standard.
Stand.
Uh,
You
it
can
was
play something
standard.
besides Commander in the Commander game. There's a
Believe
bad
not,
bit.
you
Nah,
can. So like standard was at one of its worst points of all times. If you're a Magic player, you remember
Here's
how
your
bad
thumbnail.
Kaladesh was for standard. Thanks, buddy. I'm gonna keep that for my private collection. I'm gonna whip that out anytime that you wanna be like, yeah, I've got a good opinion on this. I'm like, do you have any good opinions? Look at this picture of you. But standard for Magic was at a terrible place. Also, a lot of people, I don't think it's talked about, but the same was kind of true for Vanguard, and there were a lot of Vanguard players who moved over to Force of Will. So like Force of Will had its big upswing at the perfect time to really capture the zeitgeist.
15. When did pendulums come out in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Or right around then.
Dang.
Exactly. Like Force of Will had such perfect timing, and it was selling like crazy. It genuinely, for maybe a 9-month stretch, was a member of the big three.
Do
you know how big of an achievement that is?
So I would like to briefly go over. So 50 card set, like Jacob said, there's no J rulers, which are like the leader cards in the game. And they did something weird where there were, I think that it went common, uncommon, rare, super rare. Yeah. But then you could get any card in foil, and then you could also get many cards in this like stamped form. I think these are the chase cards. I don't know. At some point when I started the card crypt, I got a lot of cheap Force of Will, and there's some loose cards, and I went through them and found that this was from Millennia of Ages. So it's not a ton of really great info, but
it has now been nearly a decade since this set came out, and we've talked even earlier in this video about how like Battle Spirit Saga, haha, that booster box is only $14, right? But Millennia of Ages was the $10 booster box for years upon years, right? It is finally now, just in the past year or so, upticking to the point it's like a $50 booster box, right? But
I wonder how many sell at that price, though.
Look at you happen to have it right there. That card in your hand right now, that is the most expensive card in the entire set. Yep.
I'm just good like that, you know?
Yeah, I was about to say, bring this card up, and I was like, holy shit, that's the card in your hand right now.
That's the one I just was jamming in my headphones, yeah. How much is it? $5.
Kevin, you ready? It's time for the Price is Right. How much is this big chase card from the $50 booster box?
$6.90.
$6.90. We're going Price is Right rule. Closest without going over. Two Lainz.
$2.
$2?
$2.
Guess what? Even you are over.
No, dang it.
It's $1.84 near mint.
No.
That's crazy.
And it's the most expensive card.
Yeah.
That's great. You had me going there because I don't pull rare cards. I didn't pull this. I just had this as a loose collection thing. So you almost tricked me into thinking I had like a valuable card.
You're welcome, buddy. I gave you false hope.
Yeah.
That said, the card actually looks cool too. Okay, let me ask you guys this, devil's advocate again. If they really underprinted this set, you think it would have been as bad?
Well, they would have lost the whole game stores going out of business because they bought too much of this set that they couldn't sell.
That's certainly true. It would have been better for the game stores. I don't know if it would have been better for them or not.
I guess if people just didn't have access to it, they could figure out real fast that they didn't need it. So maybe.
What they should have done, Force of Will actually right around that same time had a lot of success with just releasing like deck sets, right? They did like the Valkyria Chronicles one where it was just 3 pre-constructed decks. If they had just made it into that, it could have done pretty well.
Yeah,
I think.
I was about to say, if they this is like a side set, they should have just not sold it as like a full booster box. That would have been easier.
Yeah. Like, I did actually over the years buy several boxes of this set and open them just for kicks. Like, you know, back when it was a $10 booster box, like if you just want to open something for, I don't know, I guess you'd call it stimming reasons now, right? You know, if you just want to rip something open and see some pretty artwork, it was pretty fun for
Who would
that.
do that?
Who would do that?
Who would do that?
Who out there would disrupt an entire episode of a podcast to do that? That's crazy.
Kevin, Kevin did it. Oh. You know what's funny? It's kind of crazy how many parallels this has to Classic Collection, except it didn't kill the game as hard. This only
Yeah.
had 73 cards in it. It barely had any meta relevant cards in it, and the ones it did have in it just made the current best deck better, and that was annoying.
Yeah.
But somehow, this one was just slightly better.
It's got two things going for it. One, Digimon was a lot smaller of a game, so it had a lot less to fall. Right?
That's true.
Two, Bandai fans will put up with anything, man. Although, you know what? I'm going to give some credit here. When I was looking at every game. None of the other Bandai games had an entry I thought were relevant. Even Fusion World had nothing bad to go on this list.
But they still had 2 games on here, so I don't know if that's giving that to Bandai or not. But
yeah, but saying like Dragon Ball didn't make the list, the other Dragon Ball didn't make the list, One Piece didn't make the list, Union Arena didn't make the list. That's not a terrible track record. The Naruto CCG didn't make the list, if you want an older one, right?
Maybe they could have made the list. We just don't know enough about them.
That's true. And that's a great time to say, hey, if you know more than we do, because we're a bunch of dumb idiots, yeah,
comment down below what the worst set of your favorite game is.
Yeah, even if you I'm gonna this is the worst set in Towers of Time. It's called Towers of Time.
I was actually looking at that game fairly recently. It seems like one of those 90s games where the rules just don't explain it very well, so it's kind of hard to figure out how it plays at all. Otherwise, people said it. I've seen a couple like Magic YouTubers be like, "Dude, it's just Magic again." I don't know. It had like lands and.
You mean the same treatment that Wyvern gets?
It had lands, and that seemed about it. There were fantasy creatures. They seemed to work in different ways. I think they had like Yu-Gi-Oh tributing for bringing out the big monsters in addition to lands. I'll have to look at it again. We need to go back to the Dead Games episode, unless you already talked about
Dead
that
Games
one.
Part 2.
Yeah,
can't wait.
We can't wait. A kind of a final question for you guys, and just a general question. A lot of similarities and differences between these games. Rarities, gameplay, all of that. How would you guys, Jacob, Lainz, how would you guys prevent a bad set from being made if someone in the comments is making a card game?
Easy. Just never release anything.
Done.
That feels like a hard question. How do you not make a bad set? I don't know. Just don't make a bad set. I don't know. Make sure you play test and
play test.
Play test and always try to play test playing your game wrong. Try to play your game as wrong as you can. If your game's about evolving big creatures and attacking, try to make a deck that doesn't evolve at all and see if it wins. Does it win better than trying to evolve? That's Haymaker in original Pokemon. You have basic stage 1, stage 2. What was the best deck? Hitmonchan,
Scyther, Electabuzz.
Yep.
So I think the 3 common trends we saw here that made the games end up on this list was 1, not enough playtesting. 2, being a Japanese game having a really awkward English release schedule. That one, a lot of people listening to this aren't going to have a problem with, right? And 3, overprinting. You can say whatever you want about the secondary market, but having too much of your product is a very, very dangerous thing.
That's why topical games that just came out don't print very much, because they really don't want to overprint, but then they print way too little and then you can't get it. It's $300 a box. But this episode's just a lot of me screaming at various points.
I'll add my personal favorite, for me at least. Don't rush the product, because when you rush, a lot of bad things happen. You rush playtesting, you rush timelines, bad things happen. Don't rush if you can, and plan ahead far ahead, years and ahead for a card game.
And if we can end this episode with a moment of silence, not for the games that we've lost, not for the sets that were bad, not for the people who bought a booster box and got nothing cool.
For the box of Metazoo that I just opened, rip, it's not sealed anymore.
No.
Oh.
But for the local game stores hurt by this, many of whom lost their lives in their battle with Crimson Vow, Midnight Hunt, Millennia of Ages, and Metazoo. Just
Now
all
I feel
of it.
kind of bad
All
because
of
that's like a
Metazoo.
real thing that actually happened, and I turned it into a goof on a opening a box. But yeah, that sucks, dude. Game stores already have it hard. If they sell topical games that just came out for more than they're worth, and they get flamed for selling at market. If they sell at MSRP, then people just try to buy all of it and resell it at market. If they buy too much of a bad set, they die. If it's just rough out there.
Rest in peace, game stores.
Okay, so now it's back to a goof.